Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm gonna take you through some basic electronic components. These components are used to build the fundamental building blocks for any electronic device that you'll find. From basic things like televisions, remote controls, your DVD or home theater systems, to even your smartphone and your laptops and computers. So these components are used in different configurations or combinations to achieve a specific function. So in this video, I'm just going to introduce you to the components, the name of the component, its function, its symbol, and its unit of measurement. Let's start with the resistor. So on this side, I have a resistor. As you can see, there is a symbol for a resistor, and it's got some two legs, but basically a resistor does not have a polarity. It doesn't matter which legs you connect on which side of the circuit. It can allow current to flow to either direction. So we've got a newer symbol of the resistor on the left, which is like a square block, and the older symbol that's zigzag. So if you go to older drawings, you'll find that they still use that older zigzag. And then the unit of measurement for a resistor is in ohms. The second component I would like to take you through is the capacitor. But before we go to the capacitor, let's just explain the function of a resistor. There are two basic functions of a resistor. The first one is to limit the flow of current. So if you want to limit the amount of current that flows in a circuit, you'll put a resistor so that the resistor can resist the flow of current. The second function of a resistor is to divide voltage. Let's say you've got a portion of a circuit that requires 5 volts, but your supply voltage is 10 volts. So you can use a resistor to divide that voltage, and then one portion of the circuit will have 5 volts, the other circuit will have 5 volts. But we can deal more on later circuits, on later videos about that. Then the second component is the capacitor. Its function is to store a charge. This one you see here is a polarized capacitor. If you notice, the legs are not equal, and it's also got a whitish line on that side. That side is for polarity. It means the white side is negative, then the side that is not marked is positive. So the symbol on the left is a symbol for a non-polarized capacitor. You get capacitors that don't have a polarity, so meaning you can connect them either way, but you also get the polarized capacitor, which is this one, electrolyte type capacitor. The third component is a variable resistor. This one is also known as a preset resistor because you use a tool to set it. You use a small screwdriver to adjust that area, and then you can set the resistor to a known value, and then you leave it there. But you also get a variable resistor with a knob, which you can use to adjust, more like your volume button in a car. It can have a variable resistor, just as an example. So the function of a variable resistor is exactly the same of the normal resistor. The only advantage is that it can be varied, it can be changed. It does not have a fixed resistance value. Then the fourth component is the diode. Very useful component. It's a semiconductor device. The two legs of a diode, the one with a grayish mark on the right is the anode. The one that is unmarked is the cathode, which is the negative and the positive. One special thing about the diode is that it allows the current to flow in only one direction. It is very useful for rectification when you want to change alternating current to direct current, because it will only allow current to flow in one direction and not the other direction. And as we can see, the capacitance is measured in farads, variable resistors in ohms. A diode, it's got a region that is measured in volts, around 0.7 volts. So if you give it a small voltage, even if it's in the right direction, it won't allow that current to flow. until that voltage can overcome that 0.7 volts. But we'll get to details when we talk about diodes. The fifth component on my picture here is a transistor. Here's a transistor. It's got 3 legs, as you can see. You get basically 2 types of transistors, an NPN transistor and a PNP transistor. But those NPN and PNP just speaks to the type of material used to manufacture the transistor. The 3 legs is usually normal on a normal bipolar transistor is a base, collector, and emitter. And they've got each function, but it works as a switch. When a base is triggered, the base is this one, this side or this side. When a base is biased in a certain way, it allows current to flow. And when it is not biased, it doesn't allow current flow. So basically it's like a switch, but it's an electronic switch. So it depends on what bias or on what is done to the base. So the current can flow from the emitter to the collector or collector to emitter, depending on the state of the base. Okay, the fourth component is basically a switch. The sixth component is a switch. It can, as you can see, it's a toggle switch. You can move it to one side or the other side to make or break. It's clear its function is to switch things on and switch things off. Then the seventh component I'd like to talk about is the integrated circuit. There can be different types of integrated circuit. You get those with 8 legs, 14 legs, but with integrated circuit, it's a combination of electronic devices integrated into one. So with integrated circuits, you usually get a data sheet like this one. Let me put it here. A data sheet like that one, and the data sheet will explain to you which leg to use for which function and for what purpose. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to get into details on that. And then the other 2 components that I would like to take you through, 2 or 3 components. As we've spoken about a diode, you also get another type of a diode called a Zener diode. This one is used for voltage regulation. It also allows current to flow in one direction, but it's got also the limits in terms of what voltage it allows to pass. That's why it's used for voltage regulation. Then at the bottom, it's a light emitting diode. It's a LED. It will emit light when current flows through it in the specific direction, and it won't allow light to emit when it is reverse biased. In addition to the integrated circuits, you also get things like 7-segment display. If you go to a filling station, you look the price of petrol, the displayed. It's the fundamentals or the basic building blocks for those prices. They are using this 7-segment display. It can show 0 to 9 numbers. So a group of these can be put together to display a number or even to display letters. Another last component that I would like to talk about today is a fuse. It's a protection device. Basically, it will sacrifice its life to protect the circuits. So if the amount of current in a circuit exceeds the rated value, the fuse will blow. When the fuse blows, it cuts off this flow of current and thereby protects the remainder of the circuit. So yeah, you'll find a lot of fuses in electronic circuits, but sometimes with the advancement in technology now, we're using circuit breakers and also using electronic fuses, which if they trip, you can reuse them. But with a fuse, once it's blown, you have to replace it. But more usually, they are very affordable. Then the last device I would like to introduce you to is the breadboard. A breadboard is usually used to build electronic components. Let's say you have an idea of a project on electronics, but you want to test it out. So it's usually used, especially in training schools, to train students how to build basic electronic circuits. So as you can see, it's got 2 lines towards on my side at the bottom. the negative and the positive, those are called the power rails. That's where you put your supply. Let's say you are powering it from a battery or for a DC power supply. You can use this power rail. You can also use the other power rail on the other side. And then you also get the component rail, which is the middle one. These ones, the way they are wired, they are not horizontal like this, but they are just vertical. So there's a connection between between point J and point F, between point E and point A. So if you want to connect something this side, then it automatically connects to this line, if you get what I mean. So these are basic electronic things, components. And then on the other side, you see an electronic trainer. It's coming from my institution, which is UNISA. We can use it to simulate various circuits, but basically it has a power supply that gives 20 that converts 220 to 12 volts, and then a number of toggle switches that we can use, and LEDs that can display. You can connect it to, and a logic circuit that you can use. But we also have some various resistors, some ICs, some capacitors there, some resistors as I introduced you, and a preset resistor, LED, capacitor, like I said, and the voltage regulator on that side. But these very, very basic electronic components that you can use to build a lot of circuits, from basic circuits like power supplies to building a radio circuit. You can build a number of things. Even there's a number of circuits that you can use to build, that you can build using this breadboard. And then once you are happy with what you've built on the breadboard, and let's say you've tested something and you find, okay, that now it's working, and then you can move it over to a PC board whereby you will solder your components and make a permanent structure. So thank you guys for watching to this point. I hope you learned something and you enjoyed my video. Please stay tuned for more videos of this type. Please do like the video, share the video with young kids that are interested to learn electronics, and don't forget to comment and subscribe. Thank you so much. Goodbye.